It is the beginning of ADCC fever. Man, I gotta say, I'm even rocking the ADCC t-shirt today. Oh, and so is, man, I didn't realize we wear matching t-shirts.
Everybody's called the
ADCC
fever.
I didn't want to make it weird, but...
Nobody told me. We've been walking around all day and I didn't realize we've been wearing the same t-shirt. Okay, well then, that aside, let's just double the ADCC fever around here. You see, that's what it's like. That's what it's like at FloGrappling when the beginning of that year-long qualification process begins. And it's right here, right now. Well, actually, technically not here, not right now. It was this weekend in Poland, so not the same thing, but close enough.
The fever maintains, though.
Fever is, traveled a full continent's distance. Myself, Halti, Chase Smith over here, and Corey in the back as well. We're here to talk about ADCC today.
The event was awesome, man. You know, obviously we were not in Poland to catch it live, but we were watching it back at home, and there was a lot of great grappling going down.
I was impressed. I was impressed because I've never been to ADCC trials. Kind of random.
You've never been to trials?
I know. I've been to ADCC trials, but I've never been to the European ADCC trials.
Gotcha.
I've been to trials in Brazil, and I've been to the trials here in the States. Being European, you'd think I'd make the effort to go, but just never worked out. You've been?
I got to go once. I went in I think it was still 2018. 18.
In where?
In Bucharest in Romania.
Lovely, sunny Romania.
That was pretty cool, actually. I really enjoyed my time out there, and it was definitely a different vibe. I mean, of course, a lot of athletes that we would recognize from the European scene, but also so many that are regular competitors in their parts of the world. But for us over here, you don't get to go to Russia. You don't get to go to other places and see them. And so that's what was on display. I mean, there were massive divisions, some topping 60, 70 competitors. I think Oliver Taza had to win 6 matches on his way to gold, which should show just how deep these divisions were. Yeah, you're right. There was it was definitely a truly international kind of flavor to this event, because being a continental qualifier, it's not just Europe. It's actually, technically, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So you had competitors from as far away as South Africa. One of the division winners, in fact, we'll get to her in a bit, but a South African grappler. So, Corey, you ran the numbers, right? Give us a little bit of insight. How big were these divisions?
The deepest division by far was the men's 77 kilogram. That was 60 men. The 66 and 88 both had a little over 40. So most of the divisions were divisions of 64 technically, right? Divisions that take 6 rounds to get to, including the finals, to capture gold.
That is huge. That is massive, right? And that's a long day. It's a long day. In fact, Oliver Taza, he actually he described it in his post-match interview, because he took gold, as you mentioned, in the 77 kilogram division with I think it was how many matches? It was 6 matches. That's pretty grueling, but apparently his day started very early and it finished rather late. We have a little clip actually with the winner, Taza. Let's play this interview real quick and we can kind of hear it from him himself as to how it was.
Jesus Christ, I had probably the toughest day in my life. I had 6 matches. We got here at 7:45. It's now 11:15 p.m. So we're about to go to sleep. The level here has leveled up in a way that I mean, it's hard for people to believe listening, but I came here 4 years ago, did trials, won them, and it wasn't anything like what I went through today. Every guy came at me, did not give me anything, and was fighting for every inch. So I am really pumped to get the win in the first trial. Last time I had to do 4. I had to travel left and right, do North American, East Coast, West Coast, do Europeans twice. Now I'm happy I get it done in the first shot. So time to focus on ADCC now.
Wow, that sounds like a long day, and it was not an easy one by any means. And this is interesting to note, is that the level, for me, watching at least from home, it looked different to years past. And it's always been it's always been competitive. But when you rank it against the other ADCC continental trials, it's always been a full step or more below the American and the Brazilian trials. Fair?
Well, I think what you see more of is there are some athletes and competitors there that are just head and shoulders above the rest, right? Where maybe at some of the, like, let's say North American trials, there's a strong contingency of elite guys, like 5 to 10 as opposed to just 1, right? And what we're seeing, what we heard from Taza there, was that there were many difficult competitors there, very, very talented athletes. That shows that the level as a whole has risen. So instead of having a few guys that were really well beyond their peers, that there's been a
evened
catching
out.
up process.
Yeah. No, that's definitely fair to say. I think it's the divisions are deep, right? And like you said, whereas you go to the States or you go to Brazil, and there's like let's say any one of 6 guys could win that division, whereas the European trials is usually 1 or 2 front runners. And I think that looking at the brackets, we probably had the same feeling going into this one. You know, you look at the 66 kilogram division, you look at the 77. And you'd be like, yeah, that guy and that guy, they're probably a very strong chance of making it to the final. But of course, there's a number of factors. Number one, it's a random draw.
So the bracketing is up in the air, right?
Yeah, because there's no seeds, and that can sometimes put an ADCC trials winner against a very, very high level black belt in the first match. There's no warm up; it's just straight in. But at the same time, you know, the sort of the international flavor, as I mentioned, to this event, I think it's really interesting because Taza, to use his example, he competed against German, Hungarian, British, Irish, Polish, and Russian opponents.
That's pretty nice.
All in the space of one day.
All right.
But, you know, Europe, a large geographical area, and much more diverse than an equally large area such as the United States. And so the differences, I would say, the differences in grappling style and grappling techniques differs much more region to region than it does in somewhere like the States, where, you know, like the leg lock game on the East Coast and the West Coast is not that much different. But the Eastern Europeans have a very different game to like the British grapplers. The Russians have a very different game to the Polish and to the French, you know? So it's you never really know who you're going to go up against or what that match is going to look like until you step on the mat and you get hands on.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool event. I remember thinking that when I was there for that exact reason, where you have these regional grappling styles that are, some of them very successful, right? They'll make their way into the finals. Like, wow, this guy's almost a pure wrestler, but he's so good at it. Yeah, so it is a different vibe, and I definitely invite anyone that has a Flow subscription, or if you're thinking about it, to go back and watch those. Also, you can go ahead and make use of the Arena software that we have that runs the brackets. You can see exactly how the champions made their way through the division.
Click directly to the replays, everything,
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Also, that will be on display this weekend at the WNO Championships. So Arena will be firing all week long.
It's right there at the top of the website. If you see the top of the website where we have rankings, results, pay, etc., just click on Arena and it'll take you through to those interactive brackets. It's very, very cool. Well, that's a little bit of an update just as to how the action was at trials and the general vibe. But let's talk a little bit about some of the winners, shall we? Because I think one of the biggest stories for me coming out of the ADCC trials in Poland was this Owen Flanagan from the UK. So Owen Flanagan, a relatively unheralded black belt, let's call him. I'll be honest, you know, I'd heard the name. You know, it's hard from this distance, but I do try to keep track of what's going on in the UK on the British jiu-jitsu scene. And I'd heard his name. You know, he competes, you know, a lot. He's primarily a no-gi competitor, and he scored some decent wins, you know, in various kind of competitions, Polaris and, you know, local competitions and stuff. So I was like, okay, yeah, I recognize that name. However, nobody, especially me, but nobody would have predicted that he would just storm through the 88 kilogram division at trials, winning 5 matches with 5 leg locks.
We do have a quick highlight here of his performance. And yeah, I mean, that's one way to make a statement, right, is finish everyone in your division in short order. And yeah, he has a wonderful leg lock game, very consistent approach throughout all of his matches. You know, definitely some different looks in the way he actually gets the finishes, but basically heel hooks or maybe the cloverleaf making an appearance there. Corey, what did you think about Owen's finishes?
Yeah, he just looked really sharp. He you know, it's always nice for these competitors to come out and have a game plan. And when you believe you're that much farther ahead than everybody in the leg lock field, and that's your ace in the hole. I mean, it's worked for how many trials winners in the years, and Owen here made it work for him really well.
So you're a leg lock aficionado. We often point to you as the leg lock resident expert here at FloGrappling. What did you make of O'Flanagan's leg lock game?
Yeah, he was using a lot of different positions, right? In the first clip, we looked a little bit at the inside ashi, but he played some double outside here as well. I think he goes into 50-50. So really just well-versed, and the entries are all really smooth too. So clearly something he was relying on to help him make it to the final. Yeah,
and I got to say, from watching him compete as well, you can tell that he's not physically imposing, like some grapplers. I mean, this Thomas Lopesans in the final, the guy was an absolute beast. You can see muscles upon muscles, but this is the power of the heel hook, right? That inside heel hook, especially. I mean, that photo right there, or that moment where he gets the tap, it looks exactly like. I remember the famous photo of Lachlan tapping out Patrick Gaudio at ADCC. Yeah,
I was thinking of it reminded me of John Blank tapping out Rustum.
Oh yeah,
Very similar position and finishing mechanics there.
Well, it just goes to show that that precise technique can beat that physical prowess, and I think that's it's really cool to see somebody go out and to use such a surgical game like that to take out somebody's knees. Man, it was a lot of fun. And I got to say, for O'Flanagan as well, we mentioned it. Okay, not particularly well known. That is to make your name. That is the way to make your name on the international stage. Now, people will be watching him as he goes into the 2022 World Championships in Las Vegas next year, and they'll be like, keep an eye on that guy. He's a leg lock machine, right?
That's right, and that's what this all comes back to, is that this is the kickoff process of trials, which will lead to the ADCC World Championships next year, and that's why it's so fun for us, because these storylines are now in play. We have someone from a division that's submitted every single one of his opponents on the way. You better believe we're keeping an eye on his progress throughout the next 12 months on his way to the World Championships, because what may have gone from an unheralded, as you said, athlete, who knows, maybe he becomes a front runner throughout 2022, right? In the earlier months where he's competing, I'm sure, some other events. So,
and hey, listen, trials winners, especially sort of the lower ranked trials winners like Asia and Europe and stuff. Okay, sometimes they get overlooked going into the World Championships because you have all these big names. But let's not forget that trials winners have gone on to have spectacular showings at the World Championships. Just guys like Nick Rodriguez. He was a blue belt. He was a trials winner. He went in and took silver medal in his first ADCC. Lachlan Giles was a trials winner in Asia, winning very similar fashion actually, with lots and lots of leg locks. Then went into ADCC and took bronze in the absolute division. So it's a perfect Cinderella story, right? It's like a guy goes in and he's like a low rank seed, and he comes from like the furthest flung trials, deepest darkest Poland, but he comes in and he might take out some names. You never know. You got to watch these guys.
Absolutely. Another name that stood out from the ADCC trials and their champion was Ash Williams, and he is definitely one of the better known UK black belts, I'd say, on the scene. A very long professional career, veteran of also some US promotions like Kasai, and he had a strong showing too. I think he finished 4 out of 5 opponents.
Yeah, and honestly, this was no surprise to me, because like when I saw the division, I saw the list of names for 66. There were a couple of names that stood out for me. There was Thiago Abuj. Abuj is a black belt representing Unity. He's a Brazilian, but he obviously has European citizenship as well. There was Camille Wilk, who is an ADCC veteran, the Polish grappler as well. They ended up actually facing first round, with Thiago winning the first match. But for me, I definitely had Ash as one of the front runners to win that division. Of course, man, the way that these brackets play out, and as we said, the kind of the sheer endurance aspect of making it through to the finals, there was no guarantee that he would make it. But it wasn't a surprise to me that Ash won that division, because I'll be honest, I put Ash as possibly top 2 or 3 no-gi grapplers, British-born no-gi grapplers in the UK. There's him, there's Fionn Davis, there's Ross Nichols. Incidentally, all 3 of them are actually from Wales. That's kind of interesting.
No bias here.
No bias whatsoever. And then there's a big drop-off. That's the truth. There are some good British-born black belts, as we've seen, Owen, and there are others. Bradley Hill just pops to my mind. But yeah,
Sam Cooke as well, of course.
Sam Cooke, great. But Ash for me, top 2 or 3 all day. And I got to say that this run was super impressive. As you said, 4 out of 5 matches. Only the Russian in the final made it the distance. And we've got a highlight, actually, just to roll this highlight as we're talking about it, because Ash managed to catch a ton of submissions on the way through to the final. He had 4 submissions in a row before he met Gayabeg Ibragimov. I hope that's how you say it. But I'm judging by the name, from Dagestan, and he had the game as well. He was a very strong top kind of player. He had great wrestling and stuff, but Ash's jiu-jitsu is very complete. And we saw this. You put together some clips as well of Ash, right? You saw that he's got top and bottom game, right?
Yeah, no, he's got beautiful jiu-jitsu, really aggressive, always going for the finish. Again, I think primarily, almost exclusively a no-gi competitor, so he's right. In his wheelhouse here. And really dynamic game where we saw Owen finishing a very similar approach. We have Ash really taking anything that goes his way, right? Any
rear naked choke, triangle, leg lock. He was throwing up submissions all over the place for sure. This was an interesting one actually. I think this was the semi-final against Thomas Kokkonen, and this was a very interesting kind of like reverse triangle, but then with the armbar as well, and strong shoulder attack. But this is the final right here. This is against Gajabek, and Gajabek looked very, very impressive indeed. You know, even the ADCC World Championships organizer Mo Jassim, he was watching this, and he said that Gajabek really impressed him, and you know, absolutely, because I was watching and I'm like, man, I have been saying it for years. That these Russians, man, they are so tough.
That was a sick sweep.
That was a beautiful sweep. They are so tough. They're just bred different, you know? And not only that, but they have a rich tradition of combat sports and grappling of their own. And I just knew that when they would get up to speed on all of the jiu-jitsu techniques, that they would be a problem. And to be honest, this is the perfect example of just sheer toughness. Look how deep that Tarek bladder is.
Those are so tight, man. Like when you get one on you, you feel safe until that moment. We're like, oh no, this is on 100%. So
this guy just decided, I'm just not tapping. I'm just not tapping to that. He would let his shoulder explode, I'm sure, but somehow manages to get out of the Tarek Plata. And then the match continued. And man, he was putting some pressure on as well. You know, Ash managed to win by points, and we actually show the sequence in just a second. It's right here. You can see that he actually kind of out-wrestles Gajabek in this transition right there. He kind of turns that arm drag into a back take and manages to secure the points from there. And I got to say, that was a really, really slick piece of work as well. But man, he was just, the Russian was non-stop. And I would like to see more of them in action. The problem is that a lot of them have trouble getting visas to enter the United States to compete. So a few of them have prevented that. But what did you think of Ash's run, Corey?
Yeah, he looked incredibly well-rounded. And you know, for a while he was, you know, for 2019, 2020, he was competing a lot. He was being very, very active. So great to see him back out there and showing us, reminding us kind of what he can do and how well-rounded he is. Am I wrong that he was an ADCC competitor in 2019?
No.
He was not.
No,
right, okay.
He didn't go to ACC 2019.
He's going
Ross
to 2022.
Ross Nichols was in 77. I don't know. Ash wasn't. He wasn't signed up. No, I think this is his first time going to ADCC. And actually, we have a few words from Ash. Let's play this interview clip real quick, because you get to hear from himself as to how it was to win gold.
And I can't complain. You know, everything was perfect for me. My body shape, my size, my weight, my diet. I've been as disciplined as I've ever been. And you know, I got 4 submissions against good guys, and then made a meal of the final. But I dug deep and proved I can do it. And I think that's one of the best versions of me you're going to see. And I got 1 year now to make a version 2.0 of that. You know, so I'm coming for the Worlds, and I'm coming hard. Yeah.
I love that attitude. You know, and it's true, isn't it? That, you know, this is the realization of a life's dream for so many, especially no-gi grapplers, right? Really, ADCC is the pinnacle of no-gi grappling. It's such an exclusive event. And I just think, man, how cool must it be to not just get invited, but to earn your way on, to fight your way in by winning the trials? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's got to be so motivating, right? Because not only did you just go through this hellacious experience of trials, but now you know that you're in for sure, and you can plan your whole year around a camp, your strength and conditioning, everything that goes into making you have the best shot at winning the title there at ADCC. So for me, I think one of my favorite times as someone that covers the sport is like the last 3 or 4 months ahead of ADCC.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone's camps just peaking, and you're seeing all these clips come out, and everyone's just looking jacked. And it's like, okay, ADCC is coming. Like, it's right here.
Yeah.
And again, we're just at the beginning of that road. So
yeah, the very beginning. This was the first international trials event, the first of the qualifying events, and this is basically going to continue for the next year, leading all the way into the World Championships at the end of September 2022. Can't wait for that. There was a lot of action, though. There was a lot of action at the ADCC trials in Poland. You put together a little highlight clip, I believe, of some of the submissions.
Definitely. You know, it's not every submission that happens. I think some divisions had over 30 alone in one category. But, you know, just some of the clips that stood out to me as we were going through. A lot of stuff that like I said, we might have missed. But again, here's Ashley Williams with that really slick counter to triangle that we saw.
Man, I got to say that's kind of smart, isn't it? I'm not sure the exact the time on the clock, but you have to think as well, if that was in the period where there's no points, allowing yourself to get taken down like that, if you know that you've got the advantage in the submissions, that's a very smart strategy.
Yeah, and this scramble is such a wild swing of emotions, right? Like, oh no, she got taken down. Wait, no, she's into the knee bar. That was
the over 60 kilogram final, right?
Yes, with Magdalena Laska. I don't know if I'm saying that quite correctly.
Yeah.
From Poland. Of course, that's got to be exciting for her to win the title. Again, action nonstop there. We had a great counter to kind of inversion, almost a berimbolo.
There was a little bit of everything in this as well, right? There was some kind of like some good old fashioned submissions, like, you know, just armbar, rear naked choke, etc., etc. But then I was looking through them, and there was some really nice like DAR setups. There was some great leg locks, maybe a flying triangle or two, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's definitely. I think we have a flying submission coming in here, but this was such a clean technique here.
Marcus Phelan.
This is Marcus Phelan's armbar there. Just really nice control going to north-south.
You like that one there. I saw, right, Corey? I saw you like smiling when you saw that one.
Of course, there's also some great wrestling on hand. This is another trials winner here from South Africa, actually, with a big hip toss. So really dynamic event.
That was the under 60 kilogram division winner, Peyton Lecter, who is I believe a purple belt and an amateur MMA fighter. Yeah, she has an interesting story in that she went to ADCC as a white belt, lost in the first round.
At the Worlds?
No, just to ADCC trials.
Okay.
Lost first round. Went back to another trials event, lost in the finals to Livia Giles, who ended up going and qualifying in 2019. Now in her third trials event, goes and wins the gold medal and qualifies for World Championships. That's a pretty cool story.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Persistence pays off.
It does, yeah. It wasn't the only standout performance, of course. There were winners in every division. There was Perttu Tipponen, who was a Finnish black belt, qualified for ADCC for the second time. Heikki Jussila, also of Finland. He won the over 99 kilogram division. And as you mentioned, Magdalena Laska, who are from Poland. She's a black belt and an MMA fighter. And she won the women's heavyweight division. So very cool. Very cool to see in multiple, how many countries is that? That's the UK, South Africa, Poland, Finland, and then you got Taza, who is Lebanon stroke Canada. People were complaining, by the way, because we posted a clip of Taza on our Instagram saying like, oh, you know, look, Taza won the 77 kilogram division. And everybody's like, why are you posting photos? Or why are you posting clips of American grapplers? He is not American. That's why he was at the European trials.
We don't control citizenship here at FloGrappling. We do have our privileges, but that's not one of them.
No, he's dual national. He's Lebanese Canadian. So that's why Taza has also competed in the North American trials, because he qualifies for both. But hey, don't shoot the messengers, man, you know?
That's the way it goes sometimes.
Ton of action there. But speaking of action, man, speaking of hype, speaking of excitement, the Who's Number One Championships is coming up this weekend. This weekend, September 25th, 26th, right here in Austin, Texas. And this is it now, the last couple days. Go to FloGrappling.com and check out all the amazing content that we've been putting up, because we've been putting up countdown videos, we're putting up interviews with the athletes and the participants. From today, actually, we started shooting a series of vlogs, daily vlogs, from now through till the end of the week, where we're going to be watching or meeting all the athletes as they're here in Austin, they're training, they're kind of arriving, and just following them along as they're getting ready for this major tournament. But some of my favorite stuff out of all the trips that we made leading up to this event is the training, the footage, right? The going into the training room and watching these guys roll.
I mean, yeah, that's pure gold, and one of the special parts of this job is seeing athletes get ready in a very organic fashion, right? Like, it's not a technique video, it's not something they're putting out. You're just in the room, it's a fly on the wall, and we get to give that to you guys at home as well. Course, on our app and platform.
You want to roll this clip?
Go ahead and run this stuff because it is basically athletes going balls to the wall, going as hard as they can.
It's as good as watching live competitions. Yeah, and this is Josh Cisneros training at Aries in actually Phoenix, Arizona.
He's in the yellow shorts, by the way.
Yeah, man. I mean, if Cisneros is going to be competing in our lightweight division, and if this is any preview whatsoever of what we can expect this weekend, man, that is definitely worth the money, right? What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, you know, the great thing about seeing all this training footage, especially with a guy like Josh Cisneros, is that's exactly how he competes. He doesn't change anything between the way that he trains, which is absolutely 100%, and the way he competes. And that's, I think most of the people, if not all the people we invited, are like that. That's why they got invited. So it's great to see a little preview of them.
Josh had a funny moment in his interview where he talks about who he might want to face at the tournament, and he says he wants Mikey Musumeci because as a purple belt, Mikey did a seminar in Josh's area. They got the role, and he said Mikey just absolutely destroyed him. He's nice about it. He's Mikey. Of course, it was kind, but he's like, man, I need to get that one back. So let's see if that one happens.
This is 10th Planet Oceanside. This is a Gio Martinez on top, of course, training with the 10th Planet Freaks. You've been to that gym, right?
I have. I think more than once, actually. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Gio, and of course, the whole association is just amazing, filled with talented grapplers. And Gio's had a long history, you could call, with WNO. He's been on four times.
Veteran,
definitely claimed his spot here in the title, coming in with a lot of heat against Mikey. But ultimately, it is about the jiu-jitsu, and Gio's got such a fun style, very loose, very open, happy to play from top or bottom, always down to chase the submission wherever it may take him.
Strong as well, right?
And he is very, very strong.
Well, you've rolled with him.
Deceptively strong, he's a beast. I mean, he's incredible, right? So I really am looking forward to seeing how this bracket shapes up because there are so many exciting opportunities for any of the athletes involved.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a comment here actually in the YouTube chat from O Steve. What's up, O Steve? But he says, and I have to agree with him that these training videos are some of the best ways to learn, and I 100% agree. I learned so much from watching guys roll in the gym. I'm not one of those guys who really watches a lot of tape. Instructionals, like techniques, but even just watching Danielle Kelly here and watching her in action, man, I just learned so much from watching people in the gym and different grips that they might use or different setups they may oh man, okay, I don't need to explain who that is. That's Kynan and Andre Galvao, and this is a wrestling round at Atos HQ. Corey, that was beautiful, right?
Yeah, great trip. I mean, we've gotten to see this year and last year Kynan's wrestling really develop, and I think this is how he does it.
Yeah, he's in the right room. He's in the right room for sure. A whole bunch of excellent wrestlers, and Andre being perhaps the very best at wrestling for jiu-jitsu, right?
We have two videos actually of Kynan wrestling with Andre, and we were chatting about this with the team earlier, the ones who are actually there filming, and they said that, to be honest, Kynan, he rarely gets out of first gear in the gym. Apparently, he doesn't really push it too hard. He's just got that game, and he's so good that he can get away with it. And the only person... man, that is the exact same move that he used to take down Mateus Diniz road to ADCC. But the only person who really takes it to Kynan is Andre Galvao. And that is something special indeed. So watching those two guys go at it in the training room, you're never going to see that anywhere else. It's never going to happen in competition, but you can see two of the very best guys in the world just go head to head like that. Man, that is definitely worth a FloGrappling membership.
Yeah, I got to say, if you can't go there in person to one of these high-level gyms where a competitor is getting ready for competition, watching the video is the next best thing because it really is a combination of technique and power, right? Because a lot of times during the peak moments of camp, they are scrapping with as much energy as they have left. So it's...
And even if you're not just learning something, but it's just motivating as well, right?
Absolutely.
Because we've got a comment here from Josh Jitsu in our YouTube saying, nothing fires me up more than watching the Ruotolo brothers train, right?
Yes, maniacs.
Yeah, absolutely. I watch those guys train and I'm like... I gotta go choke somebody. This is so cool.
Equal parts fired up and deeply depressed watching that. I'm like, man, I'll never do that. I'll never move like that, but that's awesome.
It's like watching a guy like surf the perfect wave every time or something. They just do special things, right?
They are incredible athletes. Also both in action this weekend.
Oh, Steve, following it up with the Ruotolos make me want to clone myself and put mats in my garage. Apparently, that is the way to get really, really good. Have a twin brother and go to war in the garage. Yeah. There was a message actually, but it's gone now. But it's the people were asking us how we felt about Wiltsey, unfortunately, no longer being part of the 185 division. So I'll just say right now that every single pullout that has happened, and there have been a bunch of people pulling out due to injury, is like a wound. It's like it hurts my heart. It really does, But that said, I think that the moves and the shake-ups to the roster and stuff, ultimately they could result in some really cool stuff, some cool things happening.
Yeah, of course, anytime an athlete's injured, we're worried about them and hoping the best for their recovery. And of course, presents us a new challenge of filling their spot. Even just today, we had some news drop earlier where Paige Mourinho, a replacement, has had to pull out due to injury.
And that's a shame.
And we've managed to slide in the Hillbilly Hammer, Jacob Couch from Daisy Fresh fame.
I love it.
Gonna shake things up, right? So okay, we've gone through in that division five athletes, or 4 pullouts plus 1 last minute replacement or something like that. But so it's caused a little bit of a need to be creative for us.
And you know that with $30,000 on the line and the opportunity of a lifetime here to make your name on one of the biggest tournaments of the year, the people, man, they're not just pulling out for, any old reason. It has to be something serious to take them out of the running for this, right? Corey, you'd have to agree, right?
Yeah, the $30,000 on the line, plus the belt, right? Nobody's pulling out for no reason. Even if you don't make it to the final, there's still money on the line. So knowing how much is at stake, it can't be just like, my knee hurts a little bit. It's an injury. It's got to be a real thing.
Well, it's a shame. It's a shame indeed. And we hate to see people get hurt, but it's the nature of the game. Jiu-jitsu, nogi grappling, it's a contact sport. It happens,
It's true.
Chase can attest to that. Injuries.
Back on my feet, though, walking around, still have my brace on. But
this guy's going to be dancing no time.
Hamstring surgery is coming along nicely, almost back.
Hell yeah.
We'll see.
Maybe we'll slide you in as an alternate for the 155 division.
I think we're going to have to delay my return to professional competition a bit longer.
Oh, well, never mind. Just a little bit.
Maybe never. I don't know. We'll see.
So I think that's about it from today's show. Short and sweet. We're just I'm saving my energy for this weekend because it's going to be huge. Chase and I are going to be doing commentary for Who's Number One this weekend. Joined also by Sean Williams and Jay Regal-Budo. We're going to be rotating in and out because it's 2 very long days of action.
Can't wait though.
Yeah,
it's going to be so fun.
So the action starts 9 o'clock in the morning, I believe, and each day the Who's Number One Championship is going to be split up into a couple of different sessions. The way that the schedule goes is that the first round, it starts at 10 a.m. local time. That's 10 a.m. Central on Saturday morning, and then that's the first round, the qualifiers, and then the semi-finals take place on Saturday night at about 6 p.m. 5 p.m. local time, 6 p.m. Eastern. And then the third place matches start on Sunday morning, the consolation bracket right through to third place, and then the finals are on Sunday night. So we should have an hour and a half, 2 hours or so, depending on how things are going, between sessions each day. But it's gonna be a lot of jiu-jitsu all in the space of one weekend. So I can't wait, man. But I'm saving my energy for that because don't want to peak too soon, right?
No, we don't. A lot of big things coming, a lot of special guests on the way, a lot of new content coming out even still. And of course, the event itself is going to be bananas.
Tickets are still available. If you are local and you want to make it down to Who's Number One Championship, you can go to the event page on our website and you can get details on tickets. But otherwise, man, watch it from home. This is going to be a wild weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Any last words, Corey?
No, Who's Number One podcast is tomorrow. Press conference is on Friday.
Correct.
And then the show
going to drop the brackets as well on Friday.
Bracket release and press conference on Friday, and then the show kicks off Saturday, Sunday, all weekend.
Hell yeah. Can't wait. That's it for us, guys. We'll see you on the next one.